heartthrob. But more than that, he's an amazingly gifted actor. He carries his scenes forward without stealing them, with a quiet and calming presence that creates a solid foundation on which other actors can elevate their own performances. Burnham never comes off better than when she's playing a scene with Pike, no matter if they're arguing, joking, or just connecting on a deep introspective level. I actually sort of see Pike's arrival in season 2 being very similar to Bruce Boxleitner's Captain John Sheridan arriving on Babylon 5 in its second season. After the brooding Commander Jeffrey Sinclair, Sheridan was a welcome breath of fresh air, bright and enthusiastic. Pike's the same way. If you're telling me this ship can skip across the universe on a highway made of mushrooms, I kind of have to go on faith. I feel the same way, but now I feel like at least someone else on the show is acknowledging how ridiculous this spore drive is. That never happened in season 1. It's amazing what the right lead actor and character can do for the show. I feel as though Anson Mount's Pike is taking not only fandom by storm, but also the writers and producers, which could be interesting when the time comes for Pike to leave the Discovery and return to the refit Enterprise, perhaps looking more like the familiar TOS Enterprise when we next see it. After all, Kirk says he took over the Enterprise from Pike, so Pike does need to go back eventually. But how long will that be? Technically, we've still got 9 years until the beginning of Kirk's 5-year mission, and it'll take a while to overhaul old NCC 1701, so maybe, thanks to Anson Mount's peak Pike performance, we might see Captain Pike in Discovery's center seat longer than initially planned. Time will tell. Now that's part 1 of Jonathan Lane's blog with a review of Season 2 and Episode 2. It's a rather long written piece, but it is fascinating, and we will continue this in the next episode of Star Trek Weekly News. Before we go today, here's some late arriving news just joining us from the Federation News and Weather Service. A model of the USS Enterprise NCC 1701 that was part of the Star Trek Exploring New Worlds exhibit at the Museum of Pop Culture in Seattle in 2018 will now exhibit February 2 at the Children's Museum of Indianapolis. So beam yourself to the Children's Museum for an up-close look at Star Trek artifacts, ranging from an original tricorder used in the 60s TV series to a prop spacecraft seen in the 2016 film Star Trek Beyond. Details are on the website at childrensmuseum.org, or you can call them area code 317-334-4000. I'm Tony Robinson. Thank you for listening to Star Trek Weekly News. We're out every Monday, and do subscribe to our podcast, which can now be found on YouTube, iTunes, Spreaker, and SoundCloud. You can always send us a message too using email. Use contact@ufp.earth. You can find us on Twitter @UFPEarth. I'd like to thank Ken Tripp, Brandon Mutala, and Zachary Moore, our executive producers and founders, and who have made the United Federation of Podcasts entirely possible. So until the next episode of Star Trek Weekly News, I bid you live long and prosper.
This has been a production of MTMR Media Works.